everyone, and welcome back to season 2 of Autism, ADHD and Us Three, the podcast. Thanks so much for bearing with while we had our summer break, and I'm really excited to bring season 2 to you with lots of exciting stuff happening over the course of the next 9 months or so. We're moving our episodes to being once a month, so you will hear me less often, but hopefully still as useful as ever. And I'd like to start off this season's episode with a guest. I've invited along my long-suffering husband, Pete, to be on the podcast with us today. Hello.
Hello.
It's quite exciting to have you with us today. We're going to be talking about how parenting is done differently in our house and how we do things maybe not in the way that some people would regard the norm. So keep listening. Hopefully you'll pick up some really interesting things and maybe feel a little bit of a sense of familiarity in terms of how you do things in your household. We've spent quite a lot of time talking about this over the years, and actually we had quite a good car conversation in the holidays, going on holiday, talking about parenting and how we do it differently for our kids than we were parented. And I suppose that's a really good place to start, is to think about what is it we do differently, how is our parenting different, and how does that benefit the children. So what are your sort of initial thoughts on that, about how we do things differently to maybe the way you were parented?
I will just caveat that I was brought up in a very loving household. Just because my mum and dad would listen. I think we teach our children to be we are not worried about what anyone else thinks about our children. We teach them to be much less self-conscious than probably our parents' generation. I think that's the main thing. I think our parents' generation were a lot more worried about what people think and about reputation and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And very basic down to like arbitrary stuff about elbows on the table, etc. Or you can't do this, you must eat at this time because that's what everybody does, and you must be like this because everybody does it like that. And I think we're a lot less, within reason, prescriptive. Yeah, within reason, a lot less prescriptive about, you don't have to have a roast dinner on a Sunday. You don't have to, maybe you can like accommodate your need for movement by getting up at the dinner table and just stretching out, or sitting on your chair at a funny angle, as long as it doesn't make eating dangerous or whatever. I think we're a lot more prescriptive about arbitrary rules than our parents were. I think that's interesting. I think from a generational perspective, I think you're right in terms of that being perceived, like, and people thinking that you're a bad person because of the way your children show up and behave. I think that's the millennials are doing it different. Don't come at me, Gen Xers. I know you started the trend. But I think there's less of a focus on that so much now, isn't there, about caring what other people think of how your children are presenting in the world. And I don't want to say like, oh, we just let them get away with misbehaviour and that's cool. But our parenting decisions and the things that we allow the kids to do are less driven by what other people think and more by what actually suits their needs. Yeah, I think, as I say, like within reason, as long as something's not dangerous or antisocial. It's like, I think it's a lot more about why do we do that, and if it's really uncomfortable for someone, like, why do we do it? It's like, I would never, like, it's like clothes and stuff. If they don't want to wear something, but it's a nice dress or it's a nice jumper or whatever, like, we want you to wear it. Like, if they find it uncomfortable, why? I was always like, I used to hate, I still can't wear a woolly jumper, like a knitted jumper. And like, to be fair, my mum came to a compromise. It would like, wear it for politeness for a little bit and then you can take it off. But I'd be like, it used to actually, like, I hated it. And I still, because I have very sensitive skin, and it would make me so uncomfortable. And it's things like that. It's like, why would I wear it? I just say, no, I'm not wearing that. Do you know, if the girls had it, I wouldn't. Yep. I'd just be like, look, I'll work it out with whoever got you it or whatever, and we'll just say, look, they can't wear it because of this, you know, like a sensory issue or something like that. It's little things like that, I think, is the main difference. I mean, like, as I say, a lot of it is small little things like that, and I think, yeah, you're right, it's based on, like, we're less worried about people's perception of what they think and more worried about what is good for our child. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think for me, certainly the dogs just walked him. For anybody that's watching on the video, you probably won't see him, but if you hear any interesting background noises, it's just him being a pest. He's got his face in the laundry basket right now. It's that idea of allowing the kids to have some sort of autonomy over their existence and understanding, I think, that it's really important for them to be able to make decisions, again, within reason, about things that directly impact them and understand the reasons behind why they are making those decisions or making those choices, or why we have stepped in and said, you can't do that thing, or you can't, behave in that way or whatever. It's given them a much clearer understanding that goes beyond because I said so. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like them understanding how to build that autonomy for themselves. There's that potential, particularly as neurodivergence, that you get like squished down into a box all the time. You're constantly being told that you're too much of this or you're not enough of that, and you end up masking quite a lot of the time. I was going to say hiding your traits, but that's exactly the thing. You mask quite a lot of your personality because you're trying to like fit in and people please, and there's no real reason for that other than the acceptance of your family and your parents. We learn from a very young, in fact, it's innate within us to make connection with our caregivers. Is like, that's our primary goal, to stay alive. It's in the brain. And so from a very tiny age, you learn to compromise your own needs for that sense of connection and that sense of safety. And so I think for us, allowing the children to have their say over, I don't want to say inconsequential things, but things that are not life-threateningly dangerous for them is important, because it's building within them that sense of authority, that these things that I'm feeling are valid and these experiences that I'm having are valid, and I don't have to not talk to mummy about that because she doesn't like it when I say those things, or she doesn't like it when I bring this topic up, or that makes mummy feel uncomfortable, or that, daddy doesn't like that. And they're not having to like make themselves smaller or change the shape of themselves in any way to feel secure in their attachment to us. So we give them autonomy in things like how they dress. Both of them have, and actually it makes our life a little bit easier in some respects. They have both had autonomy over choosing what they wear, apart from when it's a school day and they've obviously got to wear a uniform. Like, they have, since they were big enough to be able to go in a drawer or a cupboard and pull out and say, I want to wear that today, we've just let them run with it. I mean, I still battle, you still battle too, about wearing coats in cold weather, or wearing like
leggings
or shoes when it might be, or put shoes on instead of sliders or sandals. We sometimes have to have conversations about like the appropriateness of clothing, in terms of like, I don't want to go for a day out and within 5 minutes you're complaining that it's cold, and then we're all sad and miserable because you're cold. Like, style, they're actually pretty stylish, aren't they?
Yeah,
to be honest.
They're much better stylish than I am, so
I don't know how they get it from. They must get it. It must come from somewhere. They choose whatever they want to wear, and that's been the case since they were like tiny dots and been able to pick out their own stuff. And I don't really care if they wear matching outfits or if they want to wear fancy dress to somewhere. We've gone to the cinema and had an Oodie trip, where the kids and I have gone in our Oodies and we're comfortable and cosy. It's a cold, wet afternoon and we're going and feeling cosy in the cinema. Frankly, I'm fine with that. I'm not advocating for pyjamas on the school run. That's a little too far for me. But, as far as me prescribing or you prescribing what they need to wear on a daily basis, couldn't be less interested as a parent. So they're getting to practice that autonomy. They're also getting to understand what's appropriate clothing for different situations, and that's helping them to be independent. But they can also say no to things, can't they, Pete?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I mean, it's, if they don't want to wear something, for instance, like, within reason, that's cool. Like, if they don't want to, I'd encourage them to do things, but if they really don't want to, that's fine. Like, if they, I'm not going to force them to do or go somewhere if they really don't want to. And usually I think we've got a pretty good judgment on when they just need a bit of encouragement, or when they actually don't want to do something. And that's fine, because I think, again, it's like, sometimes you think, well, who are you doing it for? Like, why are you making them go to this thing? Is it for them or for you, because you feel like, well, I paid for this, or like, well, they should be doing this because they're kids and I want to feel valid as a parent, so I'm going to force them to do something. Whereas, and I don't think it happens that often, like they don't want to do something. So it's like, it's just getting that balance. And I think we got to that level now where we know whether it's just a little, I'm a little bit tired, I need some encouragement, or this is flat out, this is not happening for me today, so I don't want to do it. And that's cool. It's like, sometimes with the regular clubs that they go to, it's like, it can be like, I really don't feel like it today. Again, it will be that test of like, is this just, you need a bit of encouragement, or you're just not in the right place for it at the moment, and that's cool. And I think we got a pretty good gauge on that. Again, why are we forcing them to go? Oh, it's because they always go. Well, that's not a good reason to make. It's not a good reason for me to put someone in that sort of level of distress, because I always think I have the choice with my hobbies. If I want to go and do something, I don't have to. Like, and I think we try and do that for a child as well.
I think it's important, isn't it? Because again, we're building their autonomy, we're building their inner understanding of how their body and how their brain works, and actually that it's their choice. And you know, in my own experience as a people pleaser growing up, you just kind of do things to go along with everybody else. You do things because it's the easiest choice in terms of people not falling out with each other, or you know, just things just going for the sake of doing it. We'll just do it. And over time, you sort of begin to lose a sense of self, and you begin to lose that idea of what is it I actually like? What is it I actually want to be doing? What things do I enjoy? Because you've just gone along with the crowd for so long. So it's really important for them at this young age to start to build that idea of, this is what I'm feeling in my body and I believe it, and I'm gonna work, as opposed to listening to what everybody else's perception is telling them of how they should feel or act or behave in a particular way.
I mean,
sorry, carry on.
I'm more of a motivator than you are, probably. But in that aspect. But equally, I think I've learned to really read them well. And I think that was hard for me at the start, because I'm like, let's just do it. But actually, I've come to realise that's taken me a bit of time to realise that aspect. But yeah, it works well now.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it, as you say, between knowing when they need that encouragement and then they'll be fine, and actually allowing them to say, I'm not feeling it because I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted, I have too much going on in my brain, and allowing them to be accepted for that, do you know what I mean, and be able to say that, and it'll be believed and understood. And so that, for me, that's a really key thing, because throughout my whole sort of teenage and adult life and working career, I was not believed, I feel like, because I find things more challenging than other people, and you're made to feel like there's something wrong with you, that you're making it up, that it's, you know, you're just trying to get away with something. And I very much don't want them to feel like that. I want them to be able to say, no, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I'm going to respond to that. That's really important for me, for them to be able to live a happy and authentic life. And sort of stepping on from that, they also have autonomy in how they feel their feelings. And this is a really tricky one. This is one that I really struggle with. And I know that you did initially, but you're actually much better at it than I am. In terms of when we have big feelings in the house, when we have meltdowns or we feel overwhelmed about things, I find that particularly triggering still as a parent. I think just from my own sensory perspective and my own not liking to see them in distress, but if they are feeling big feelings about something, they're not told to shut up. They're not told to calm down, take it, you know, I don't want to deal with this right now. And that's really difficult for me, because there was a time in my life where that is how I responded. But, you know, if they're feeling something, they're allowed to feel it in its wholeness.
Yeah, I mean, I think I struggle with that for a while. I kind of like look back in horror, like as saying, like, oh, just calm down. Like, what's going on? Like, calm down. Like, why? I remember saying something like, why are you getting so upset over that? Or like, and getting annoyed that like one of the girls would get upset over something that was quite, that seemingly on the outside would be quite small. And I realised that's such a bad way to look at it, because for them it's a massive thing. For them it is a huge thing that the iPad suddenly doesn't work, or more realistically, I realise that that is a bubble of emotion that has been triggered by something, just anything. And actually what they don't need is for those feelings to be ignored and not validated, because now my approach is totally different, where it's like, validate the feeling and then say, yeah, that is something, just like, that is really, but that's really bad and upsetting. I can understand why you're upset by that, and then let it out, and then be there to support when it's out. That's now. And it usually is like a cuddle or something afterwards, and it works, like, because what I realize is you just going in there, like, getting annoyed because they're agitated. You just end up two lots of energy butting into each other, and actually it doesn't do any good. It does not calm them down at all. They feel emotionally unvalidated because they're like, well, I'm feeling big emotions here, and it's like, you're just saying, oh, get on with it, don't worry about that. And that's actually really, really kind of like, it's really insensitive thing to say, because it's totally ignoring that they get what they.
That's their lived experience, and you're just saying, oh well, it's not really.
And damaging in the long run, because what you're saying is those big emotions don't mean anything, so just get on with it. Whereas I can see it's a big well of emotion, and we gotta let it out, because then that's getting it out there. It's out, and then just being there to support. It's almost like with, I know this is a strange analogy, with like an epileptic fit. You got to let them get it out, and you don't get in there and start trying to stop it, do you? It's like, it's dangerous. So you let it out, and then you're there to when they recover, to support it,
to support
them.
Yeah,
It's a similar thing. It's like, let that emotion out and be there to support.
Exactly. And I think, I mean, we try not to be too hard on ourselves, in terms of, when you know better, you do better. Okay. And for both of us in our parenting journey, I mean, neurodiversity wasn't even on the horizon 3 years ago for us, really. This is all still quite new. But, over the last 12 years that we've been parents, we have definitely evolved our parenting style to meet the needs of the girls, and we've done that together. And I'm really, big us up here for a moment. I'm really proud of how we've worked together to do that. But you're right, in terms of like validating their feelings. They need that co-regulation, and that's something I still genuinely really struggle with, because my fight or flight system is still really activated when they are heightened. But I have awareness around that now, and I'm able to take a minute and breathe and think about what they need in that moment. Not 100% of the time. Not gonna lie, I'm not perfect at it all the time, and our nervous systems are all at different states every day, but certainly more often than not, I'm now able to hold that space for them. And when you're holding that space for them, it tends to burn itself out quite quickly, and then you can do the whatever needs to come next to comfort. And those moments are never the moments to have a conversation about anything, whether it's the thing, whether you want to bring reason into it, or a different perspective, or question how someone has presented themselves in terms of the way they've spoken to you. Like, that is not, do that later. Like, this is not the time. And we've learned that together, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think you would say the same thing about the way that you handle the girls is now kind of the way that you start to handle me as well. You can see it in me now too. A bit more slowly that realization came, I think, than with the girls, but you're starting to see that here too, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's the same methodology, really. It's just let it out and then be there to support. And there's no point in me saying like, oh, why are you acting like that? I mean, it depends, doesn't it? Like, because depends on the level of what it is, isn't it? Like, if there's sometimes it's just like a normal thing, but other times I can see it's like, this is getting overwhelming for you, and then it's just like, that's why you're reacting like you are, not because it's like anything personal against me or anything. It's just like, you're reacting like that, and it's like, there's no point in going, well, why are you reacting like that? It doesn't make any, doesn't help at all, and it doesn't, and it doesn't work, which is a long suffering thing that I've had to learn.
Yeah, it's been an evolving process, and that is actually something that we are going to be talking about again at some point over the next few months, because I'm going to be having Pete back at some point to talk about supporting your partner, your neurodivergent partner. We're going to talk about how that works in terms of our relationship. But back to the children. we have got a controversial one to share now, and I'd be really interested if you've got any comments on this or how you handle this in your household. Both the children use all kinds of language. They can use all the language in socially acceptable contexts. Now, this wasn't initially a conscious choice, I would say, was it, darling? One of my favourite new baby cards that we got from your colleagues at work was a picture of a baby's bottle on the front of the card, and the writing inside was, "It's going to learn to swear." And because you and I have a bit of a reputation for our use of language in life, don't we? We've actually been quite restrained so far on the podcast, but I don't expect that we'll get away without the odd F-bomb before we get to the end. But we couldn't, between us and our spicy brains, control our use of language and we did try. We tried real hard for the first 6 months of having our eldest child, and then it just became an impossibility. And actually, I found myself questioning, who says that these are bad words, and why would we not encourage the children to know how to use them in context-appropriate situations when it's more than likely that they're going to be saying that stuff with their friends anyway? Why would we create that barrier in our communications? So both of them are fantastic in their use of language, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about context, and
definitely,
like, it's about being expressive. I mean, and they don't use it in inappropriate places. It's like in the household, yeah, it's fine, but they don't use it when they shouldn't, which is, I think, testament to the teaching of what is an appropriate context to use it in,
yeah.
Why it would offend people, some people, if you used it in front of them, and it can be upsetting to some people. They've understood that lesson because they don't. So it's like, I think it works. Like, I think it's a good thing, because otherwise you just repress it and say, "Oh, that's wrong, it's naughty." But like, it's like, but everybody does it, and they will do it eventually. They will say it eventually. I think like, they're expressive words, and they express an emotion like anything else. And I don't think they're good, or like, you can say "you fool" or something like that, which is a acceptable word, but it's horrible when you think about it. It's a horror. I would rather be called like a swear word than that, because to me that's a horrible word.
Yeah.
And I think it's about teaching them what is an appropriate context in which to use them, which they've taken on board, because they don't use it in an appropriate context, which is great. And as well, they don't really use it that much anyway, because it's not a taboo. Like, it's not a taboo. It's just a
swear words.
Yeah, it's not even a thing really, and it's like,
it's destigmatizing, isn't it? And for me, I think it means that we have really open and clear channels of communication, because it's not a part of themselves that they're having to hide from us. Like, I couldn't swear in front of my parents. They'd be so angry at me. Like, I couldn't care less.
No, and it's like, I don't get offended by swearing in the slightest. I totally understand that some people do, and now I wouldn't, like, if I knew someone found it uncomfortable, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't swear in front of someone, like, and I wouldn't, and obviously I know the context in which I can swear, and that's what I try and teach them, and that's what I think it's a good way of doing it, rather than saying, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that," because it's, as I say, they're going to swear, they're going to hear it at school and stuff, and now this way they understand the appropriate context of what swearing is about and why you use it. So I think it works for us.
It does, yeah, it does. It definitely works for us, for sure. It's not, I wouldn't say it's something I've felt really, really, really passionate about, but I just, again, like you, I'm not massively offended by swear words. And I do understand that some people are, but again, they're just words, and they're used expressively. And some of them are some of my favourite words. Well, we could probably talk about that in another episode. But one of the other things, we talked about autonomy so far in this episode, and actually the kids get to have a say in many of the decisions that we make as a household. We don't live in a dictatorship here in terms of I do, you say, and that's it. They get a say in lots of the decisions. So when we're planning to go on holiday, they will get a say in where they would like to go, or the sort of things that they would like to do. It's not like a pre-planned, this is your itinerary and this is what you're doing, and you're doing it because I've said. Like, they get a choice in helping choose where we're going and the sort of things that we're going to do. They also get choices amongst their food items. Again, within reason. It's striking that balance, isn't it, between nutrition and comfort in terms of, food choices. We could have the tendency to have quite a beige menu in the house, and I know that that's something that a lot of neurodivergent households struggle with because texture is a big issue when it comes to food. And both of the kids are both quite different in terms of the textures that they like and dislike and the taste that they like and dislike. So I gave up a long time ago trying to just cook one meal for everybody and half of the table being disappointed and unhappy with what had been presented for them. So we tend to be a bit more flexible around food, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm big on nutrition, as you know, but I try to make sure it's like it's not unhealthy, but equally, yeah, I don't see, like, again, it was like, this is, I mean, I had a big household when I grew up, so I completely understand why it was the case, because you just couldn't do it. Yeah, like my mum had to cook en masse, so it's difficult. But I'm like, there's no point in me forcing them to eat something they just don't want to eat. Again, I don't, as long as it's not like eating McDonald's every day or something. And generally, I think we've hit a kind of, we've negotiated like healthier choices, so like pasta and things like that, and make sure that there's always a vegetable dish with it. So like they're getting the healthy stuff as well, but it's not like, oh, I'm going to make you eat cauliflower that you absolutely hate, but because I've got it, I'm going to make you eat it. It's like, I'll give you vegetables that you like because it just makes more sense to me. So I don't want to have a battle, but like you get them and they get them the vegetables they like, a mixture of stuff, and then it works. It's like, yeah, again, it was like you have to eat the whole plate. It's like, well, no, if you, and again, that's the other thing with portion control and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I know that they are really struggling or like they're having a difficult day, I'm not going to whack a massive. I just know that I'm not going to whack a massive bowl of food on them because that's not what they want. And sometimes we make accommodations with like the little tray things and have little bits rather than a huge meal because I know they're not up for that. And generally speaking, they're not. That's just not how they eat. And it's just making those accommodations as well, making sure they have the right food and everything, but like just little things like putting it in a small tray, like with little compartments, so it looks less than it is. Just works really well. And equally, it's like if they don't want the roast dinner and they would eat pasta, that's cool with me. It's like I'm not so prescriptive to just sit them down and well, that's what's for dinner. Do you know what I mean? I just don't.
Yeah. They're starving kids in Africa, don't you know?
Yeah, and the guilt thing and all that, it just doesn't work. So it's like,
well, that's the thing. It doesn't. You're literally guilting them into abandoning themselves again in terms of like, there's something about this that I can't stomach, or I don't like the texture, or the taste, or whatever, and I'm having to please you by forcing it into myself. They're kind of abandoning their own autonomy again there in that sort of people pleasing context. And we've got a fine balance, like you say. It's not chicken nuggets every night. I think it probably could be if we let it go that way. But like you say, we like a roast dinner. The kids aren't a big fan of lots of the elements of a roast dinner, so they will have the bits of the roast dinner that they like and then other stuff with it. And that's just how we make it work. And actually it's made for a much happier household overall because we know that they're eating stuff and it's relatively healthy. And I mean, who cares if we're not all eating exactly the same dinner every night? It's absolutely, I'm not offended by that. Like, they're allowed to have their own choices. They are also allowed to get involved in plans for day trips. We will ask them where they want to go, what sort of stuff they want to do. This doesn't feel like revolutionary stuff in terms of our parenting, but I don't remember being hugely consulted as a child about having choices for this sort of stuff myself. And also, when we're decorating around the house, last year we repainted the hallway and the stairs, and they came with us to help choose the paint. We're thinking about redecorating the living room at some point. They will help us choose the colour, the furnishings, the things that will go with it. Over the last few years, they've both had their bedrooms redecorated. They both had a complete say in what they looked like, what they wanted to have in there, because it's their space. I think it's really important to value their opinions on those kind of things.
Yeah, I think gets them involved. It's their house as well at the end of the day. That's how I see it. Again, if it was like some awful colour, I might step in. But it's like we come to decision as a family, don't we? And we're like, and they had a say. They picked out the colours for the hallway. I think it's really nice because otherwise, again, it's like involving and engaging them in a process of and just feeling validated their opinion. I think that's the main thing. It, like, bar anything else, it's having their opinion validated, which I think maybe kids a while ago, it was like, what is this expression?
Kids are seen but not heard.
Seen but not heard, yeah. And it's like, no, I want them to be heard. Like, I want their opinion. It's like when we talk about, I don't know, like stuff in the news, like current affairs. I want to hear their opinion, and I encourage them to have their own opinion. And I will challenge their opinion, like, and I'll say, have you thought about this? But I don't ever invalidate them having an opinion, because I think that's really important as well. It's like, again, it's that validation of your opinion counts, and that's what I want them to believe as they grow up and know that they grow up. And it's little things like that around the house. So your opinion counts to us, like, do you like the colours of the wall because you're living here? Like, what's your opinion on it? And we do that with a lot of things, don't we? I think involve them in the decision-making process. It's like we take it in turns to pick film night, don't we, and stuff like that. Like everyone has a turn. It's not just Star Wars again or something like that.
God,
that you want to watch, but but it's like we all take a turn in things, and we all, again, it's about that validation. And I think I've never been of that kind of ilk where it's like, seen and not heard, because I want to hear them. I love their opinions. I think they have a great, some of the stuff they come out with and their view on the world is fantastic. It's that out of the mouth of babes, isn't it? That expression. I want to encourage that, and I want to encourage them to think and form their own opinions. They don't have to have the same opinions as me. How boring would that be? It's like, it's great. It's great having.
They have a different experience of the world than we did ever growing up, and you know the things that they're going to come across, and as they continue to grow and become adults, will be different from what we have experienced as elder millennials. But you're right, it's that idea of having opinions that's so important, and having them validated. And it may well be, they might come out with some real controversial shit, who knows? But in the moment, their opinion is, you know, the fact that they have that opinion is validated. We may then talk around bringing in different perspectives, if it's something that we maybe want to challenge, but they're never ridiculed or shamed for having a say or having an opinion. And I think that's quite different for our generation, because it's not that, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, you're only a kid, what do you know? Like, they experience the world all kinds of different ways, and their experiences are valid, and they deserve to understand that. And that helps, again, it helps build their inner authority, their autonomy. I am important, my opinions matter, I am valid. It's all of this shit that some of us have brought into adulthood, not having that make us feel less than as adults. Our role, if you like, is to try and make sure that our kids bring less of that into adulthood, so they can feel more secure in themselves as individual human beings.
Yeah, I think, like, you wouldn't do it at work, would you, to a younger work colleague? Like, oh, you're younger.
Some people do.
Yeah, they do, but that's wrong, and it's challenge, isn't it? It's like, just because you're younger, you have a different opinion, and you might not be as experienced, and you might not see as much, but you still have a valid opinion, because actually sometimes when you're older, your experience has knocked you, and you've forgotten why something might be a valid point, or like you might have had a bad experience with something, and someone else looks at it from a fresh perspective. So that's I think it's important to encourage that.
Definitely. And then the final kind of bits that I wanted to just talk about on the episode today are, as parents, sharing our emotions and challenges in appropriate ways. Obviously, our children are not our emotional crutches. There's a boundary there in terms of what you share, but also in that role modelling aspirations, dealing with challenge, and self-acceptance. And I think, you know, I saw something recently where somebody posed the question, how would you feel if your child spoke to themselves the way you speak to yourself in your head with your inner voice? And I think that's genuinely quite shocking for some people, because the way that they speak to themselves is so horrible and invalidating. They'd be horrified if they thought that their child was also speaking to themselves with that same voice. But it's equally important for our children to know that we're not perfect. up until a certain age, our children sort of, they worship you, and I can't think of a different way to put that, but like, you are their little universe, and everything that you say is gospel, and then they become teenagers, and that very quickly goes down the toilet, and nothing you've got to say is valid anymore, and nothing. But being able to share that actually all human beings have challenges and have to deal with those challenges, and will find, hopefully, appropriate ways to deal with those challenges, and that it's okay to face challenge, and it's okay to find things difficult, and it's okay to want to do better for yourself and to have aspiration for the future. That's part of our job as parents, is to role model that that's what a normal human experience is like. And I won't use the term normal in sort of quote unquote, but the average human experiences a whole range of things, and we are not immune from that as parents.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to show not vulnerability, but like emotion, and it's important to show that. I think it's I don't think there's anything wrong, like you say. It's just making it acceptable to show that, and explain it as well. It's like sometimes I'll be irritable, and then I'll go in and I'll speak to them after. I say, "Oh, sorry, Daddy's just really tired at the moment," and saying I flew off the handle about that because I'm tired,
Yeah.
and that was quite irritating or whatever. But just explaining it, and then it's just such a good way of going it's okay to show the emotion and show that, and this is maybe, and explain maybe again the context behind it and what led up to it, and it's really healthy, I think, to do that.
That what you just said there about the explaining and the apologising. We are all human. We are going to lose our shit from time to time, or we're going to be ratty in response to something, and children can really internalise that as, I've done something wrong, I've annoyed mummy, or that was wrong of me. If I hadn't done this, then that wouldn't have happened, and you wouldn't have said that or reacted that way. It's really important that when you've had a moment to have a breath and calm down, that you go and discuss that experience with them, and you've just so beautifully modelled, explained where it came from, and that it wasn't anything to do with the kid or your partner, that actually it was coming from another place, and that you're sorry, and that that is okay. And it's actually, I have to say, it's really interesting when it comes through their voices, because they are then able to, they've had that modelled for them, they're able to reflect on their own behaviour and repair and apologise when they need to. And I mean, earlier on, just even today, I was annoyed about something, and I was kind of doing the annoyed mum stomp through the house and talking to myself. And my youngest was doing something in the kitchen, and she said to me, "Is it helping talking to yourself like that in that sarcastic voice? Is that really helping right now?" It's yeah, good point, actually. I will go away and think about that. And it's just, but it's so lovely to see that come through them. You hope that you're then building healthier attachments with them from that perspective, so they can then take that up into their adult lives.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's just, again, that explanation it just helps them understand. And it's like you say, so you're not the cause of this. It's not because you're a horrible person or I dislike you in any way. It's just that this is happening to me right now in my emotional state or my physical state is causing me to think like this or to act like this. And that's cool. Again, it takes away that level of self-blame and self-loathing,
Shame.
isn't it? Shame.
Yeah.
Is the word I was shame is the word I was looking for, because the last thing I'd ever want to do is because I'm feeling a bit stressed or tense from work is for them to feel shame and to take that in, because it's invariably nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
It'll be sometimes you sit there and think, I've been annoyed by something much earlier and I'm taking it out on you because I'm irritable, and it's and then the cathartic way in which you can explain to them and then feel, actually, I'm sorry, this is nothing to do with you, this is it. It's just it makes you feel better and makes them feel better, I think.
Yeah, I have had an absolutely lovely time having this conversation with you in the virtual studio. Thank you for waiving your anonymity and coming and being on the show. If you've really enjoyed having Pete on the podcast, please do let us know. We love to hear your feedback. I love getting your emails. I've had some lovely, lovely emails from people who listen to this podcast. We're growing a really beautiful, empathetic community. So if you've got any feedback on what we've been talking about today, or if you'd like to see more of Pete on the podcast, please do ping me a message. You can find me on TikTok. I'm now on Instagram as well. I'll put all the links in the show notes where you can see where we're at and what I'm up to. But thank you so much for spending some time and listening to the podcast today, and I will see you on the next episode.
Thank you.